Today, I need to introduce a type of leadership and how it works in practice in educational setting. Of course, a transformational leadership, a leadership model in which teachers, to a certain extent, take on many roles in the classroom, such as setting learning expectations for students, building good teacher and student relationships, teaching academic knowledge, and grading students in class. So first is in the introduction to leadership models. I will explain the transformation leaderships using academic case studies. I will, of course, an example from the Australian education system to discuss the advantages and disadvantages of a transformational leadership. Furthermore, I will fundamentally explore the reason and the practice that play a role in promoting this leadership model in real-world education. Finally, you will see my reflections on the development of this leadership model, explaining why I feel it is relevant to my future career in education and why I recommend it. So now I will introduce transformational leadership. According to Barnes research, leadership is not merely a mutually satisfying exchange of interests between leaders and followers, but more importantly, it involves both parties enhance each other's motivations and value pursuits. During this interaction, Bonser's purpose as a leadership itself is not about rewarding action, but rather that effective leadership great and motivated followers to go beyond initial this basic work requirements. This further depends the understanding of the transformational leadership in the education schedule. The series of Lesbo and Genty collaborate respond regarding the application of transformational leadership models in schools. Transformational leadership in education not only clarifies Google's and future planning, but also effectively supports the construction of a positive school uh, organization, uh, organizational environment, and teacher development. This is a key conclusion of your practical research, demonstrating how this leadership model works in a school environment. Therefore, based on this relevant findings, I believe the execution logic and ultimate met goal of transformational leadership are clearly later encouraged follows by establishing shared goals and expenditure, thereby motivating everyone to transcend individual interests and achieve quality goals for the common purpose of the school. Now, next I will elaborate uh, on transformational leadership based on four aspect, aspects. Authoritative research funding of regional and base, idealized influence, emphasize the leader behavior gains public recognition and acceptance, setting some much benchmark for others. Another aspect is motivational encouragement, which involves the leader using a clear vision to let all members understand the expected progress toward shared goals, thereby supporting and encouraging them and to achieve those goals. Uh, intellectual simulation encourages members to think independently and debate or logic and arrive to new approaches and solutions. Personalized care involves the leader providing different and opportunity support to each member based on their individual so circumstances help each member to develop further. I believe that the in schools leader can build trust with the teachers on a fair and ask basis, encouraging them to try innovate and better teaching method through jointly established development goals and providing relevant professional support and advice according to different teacher needs. Therefore, I believe these four aspects are extremely important in the educational environment of school. Next, I will use the result of real-world case studies from Australia demonstrates that Barnett and McMake examines the change leadership behavior of leaders in four schools. This study also relevant teachers' uh, acceptance of the school leadership change leadership model and their, of course, personal goals. And importantly, while a strong vision is important, it's not necessarily the most crucial. In change leadership, according to the research, leaders are more concerned with value building relationships with the individual teacher and between leadership and teachers. So therefore, through the relationships built, school leaders can more effectively support and encourage teachers to use their professional abilities and work skills to contribute to the school share vision. I believe this precisely illustrates that the change of leadership in education is not simply about leader creating a catchy slogan or content. Rather, it requires leaders to understand and build relationships with each of their followers. So, based on conclusions of the second case studies, which I referenced from Browning research on transformation leadership in Australia private schools. The study examined for transformational leaders in private school. These leaders were highly respected and trusted by all members of the school community. The study focused on how they uh, maintain a strong and trusting working relationships with the school of faculty and staff within educational environment. Several key takeaways from this research were firstly, trust. and transformational leadership are interdependent. Secondly, the method for building trust are crucial. This includes, but is not limited to, involves employees and participants in decision making rather than person listeners and observers. It also requires leadership to listen to employees and provide a relevant support. Furthermore, leader need to set a benchmark for their behavior within the education environment, serving a role model for factory and staff. The 2014 study identified 10 methods for building trust. Therefore, I believe that the most important aspects of transformational leadership trust is the build trust leader long-term behavior and effective interactions with employers. Therefore, in education environment like schools, I believe leaders need to build trust through long-term practical actions and establishing positive interactive relationships with the teachers. This is a crucial part of transformative education. Rather than simply replaying a strong vision. The main advantages of transformational leadership lie in its ability to engage employees, genuinely listen to them, and build positive relationships and trust the boys. Uh, Browning research shows that this leadership still increase teacher engagement in the teacher environment, significantly improving the overall professional education environment. Leswood and Gentry research indicates that transformational leadership can further influence that outcomes and the school goals and vision through teacher satisfaction and engagement with the working environment and teaching culture. So, more recent research by Wilson and et al. Also demonstrate the positive and active role of transformational leadership in staff relationships and the school culture. So therefore, the advantage of transformational leadership lie in its ability to improve the teaching environment as a collaborative relationship between leadership and teachers. Fostering mutual support between teachers and the students in the teaching process. Of course, transformational leadership also has limitations. Two issues stand out. So first, and more uh, intuitively, it may lead to unclear direct reflection of a change in student performance. According to Lee and the size research based on 14 real-world cases. So student performance did not align with the research result. Second, this leadership model has limitations in practice. Improving the learning environment in school usually requires this collaborative marking on from multi departments, and this doesn't slowly rely solely rely so on the leader as involves interior learning environment and is influenced by it. So not just the leader alone. The theory, however, is permanent and dependent on the leader. Furthermore, the theory itself has several problems. So, according to Van Nickelberg and Stakins research, judging and defining leader behavior and its consequences is quite difficult. Therefore, while transformation leadership is undoubtedly an effective leadership model, it has limitations. Applicability of its actual effects depends on factors such as the school environment and thus cannot be applied to all schools and learning environments. So, so there are obstacles to implementing this leadership model. Too much insufficient trust which can hinder staff support for the leader's vision and reduce their engagement in school change and a passive reactive approach to change. According to this one and Jamesy, transformational leadership is influenced by two factors, teachers and the school environment. So therefore, leadership must be uh, integrated with the actual school environment and cannot be treated as a idealized theory. Uh, let's say Hainan research demonstrates that factors such as school staff and culture and closely related to transformational leadership in school. For example, time and communication deficiencies have teacher workload and excessive extra hour or contribute to difficult in achieving optimal collaboration. Therefore, even a highly capable transformational leader might struggle to have a truly effective impact on school transformational leadership due to lack of trust with the teachers, passive teachers' engagement, and the traditional unchanging school environment. Of course, several factors can aid in the implementation of the transformational leadership. One key factor is building trust. Referring to Browning's research, school leaders can support staff listen to their feedback and involve them in decision making to gradually build trust. Furthermore, Wilson Heinen's research indicates a correlation between transformation leadership and school culture and teacher development. Therefore, sportive school culture and sportive professional development are crucial. From this perspective, school leaders certainly need to understand why change is necessary. Involves the teacher in decision making and provide or personalized tailored to the need to different teachers. Moreover, the school's shared goals should not be solely determined uh, by leader and partially by teachers. So rather, both the leaders and teachers should participate in the process of establishing the my personal perspective. I always choose a transformational leadership. The core of leadership isn't all authority, but rather achieving motivated goals through the support and assistance, which requires building relationships. I value communication, fairness, and support only when employers feel supported, respected, and their interested and suggesting valued can they mounting a positive attitude toward change and actively respond to leaders. I also believe I need to develop areas for improvement, such as communication and handling different openings. I need to learn how to better solve problems in these areas. So, therefore, for my future career, I will initially have leadership responsibilities in the classroom, and I might need to ask me even more leadership role within school. I believe transformational leadership will help me understand which leadership models I need to follow to improve my leadership skills. It's valuable and usable too. The role and the value of transformational leadership education are uh, undoubtedly availed, as the leadership model strengthens the interaction and trust between leadership and the teachers and helps the teacher evolve to and improve professionally. However, research indicate, indicates that the impact on students' outcome is not always direct and absolute. The actual effect is limited by the school environment. In short, for transformational education to be effective, leaders need to move beyond the supply setting shared goals and instead involves employers in change decision making, providing personalized support and building trust. Therefore, a valuable and effective leadership model not only great employers to complete various changes, but also involves all relevant employers in the of formulation and implement, implementation of change itself. Thank you for watching.